You know, there's a killer hiding in plain sight in almost every major city on Earth. It's a threat that causes more deaths than hurricanes or floods. But the crazy thing is, you can't even see it.
Yeah, that's right. All that concrete, all that asphalt, all that steel we've used to build our incredible cities, well, it's also creating these intense localized hotspots. These concrete jungles are literally cooking from the inside out.
And that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? If you're going to tackle a problem like this invisible fever, first, you have to find a way to make it visible.
And to do that, we need to go up, way up. We're going to look down from orbit and use some pretty amazing satellite tech to reveal this hidden thermal world that's reshaping our lives right under our feet.
Okay, so let's get right into it. That temperature you see on your weather app, it's not wrong, but it's not the whole story. Not even close. What's really making our cities bake is something else entirely.
You see, satellites aren't measuring the air temperature like a normal weather station. They're looking at something called land surface temperature, or LST. And that's the actual heat coming off the ground itself, the asphalt, the rooftops, the sidewalks. And trust me, that's where the real danger is hiding.
So what's going on here? Well, it's a phenomenon called the urban heat island effect. As we've replaced cool, green, natural landscapes with all this gray infrastructure, we've basically turned our cities into giant ovens that are way, way hotter than the countryside around them. And this is exactly why those old-school weather stations on the ground just can't keep up. They give us a few dots of information here and there, but it's like trying to see a giant, complex painting by looking at just a few pixels. You miss the whole picture. To really see what's happening, you need that view from above.
So how do we actually get that picture? This is where things get really cool. We're going to become data detectives for a minute and follow this heat signal all the way from a city street up through the atmosphere to a satellite sensor hundreds of miles up.
It's a pretty wild four-step process. First, the satellite just captures raw data, basically just a stream of numbers. Then, scientists convert those numbers into what's called radiance, which is a real measure of energy. But that signal gets all messed up by our atmosphere, so they have to clean it before they can finally calculate an accurate temperature map. And when I say clean, I mean it. Check this out. This isn't just applying some simple filter like on Instagram. Scientists use these incredibly complex models with names like FLAASH and 6S to account for every little thing in the atmosphere. It's a super rigorous process to make sure the final temperature is the real deal. Okay, so now we have this perfect, clean signal coming down from space. What does it actually show us? Well, it reveals something fascinating, that every single material in a city has its own unique thermal fingerprint. This fingerprint is a property called emissivity, and really it's just a way of measuring how good a material is at soaking up and spitting out heat. Something with high emissivity, like dark asphalt, just absorbs a ton of energy from the sun and gets scorching hot. This one idea is the key to everything. And I'm not kidding, the difference is absolutely massive. Just look at this. On the same sunny day, that asphalt parking lot can hit a blistering 55 degrees Celsius. But a grassy park, maybe just a few feet away, is chilling at a comfortable 32 degrees. The choices we make about what to build with have huge consequences. And it's not just what our cities are made of, it's also their shape. These dense clusters of tall buildings create what are known as urban canyons. They literally trap heat, block the wind, and prevent the city from cooling off at night.
All right, this is the moment we've been building up to. We've cracked the code, we've identified the culprits. Now, let's see the crime scene. It's time to make the invisible visible.
So we start with a familiar image, right? A standard satellite view of a city. You can see the roads, the buildings, but you can't see the heat. It's hiding.
Now this is what the satellite's thermal sensor actually sees before all the fancy science happens. It's this kind of spooky, blurry ghost image of the city's fever.
And then, after all that processing, bam! This is what you get. A crystal clear, high-definition heat map. Suddenly, you can see exactly which streets, which blocks, which neighborhoods are suffering the most. The invisible killer? It now has an address.
And when you look at these maps, the patterns just jump out at you. The hottest zones are always packed with asphalt and concrete. They have almost no trees or green space, and they're full of those urban canyons. And the most tragic part? These are very often the same neighborhoods where the most vulnerable people live. But here's the most important part of this whole story. This incredible technology isn't just about finding problems. No, it's about designing solutions. It's literally a blueprint for engineering a cooler, safer, and more livable future for everyone.
I mean, just look at the difference here. This is a tale of two streets. By making smart, data-driven decisions, like swapping out that gray infrastructure for green infrastructure like trees and cool pavement, we can slash surface temperatures and make our cities so much healthier.
And we have a whole toolbox of solutions ready to go. We can install green roofs, use reflective materials, plant more trees. We can even use these maps in real time during a heat wave to send help where it's needed most. And with new satellites coming online, we'll get these updates almost daily. It's a total game changer.
It really all boils down to this. We're not just mapping problems anymore. We're taking that raw energy data from space and turning it into a practical, scientific blueprint to build the climate-ready cities we so desperately need.
So, we can see it now. We can see this invisible fever with incredible clarity. The question isn't about the technology anymore. It's about what we choose to do with this new power. It's a choice for our leaders, our city planners, and really for every single one of us who calls these amazing and increasingly hot cities our home.